Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to episode 70 of the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. Every Monday, this podcast covers new game releases, the previous week's gaming news, and we all learn an Xbox-related fun fact together. This show is on YouTube and podcast services around the world, so please subscribe in your favorite and leave a review. Xboxin10.com, no numbers, is your quick source for links to all of our podcast destinations and social media profiles, which you can follow at Xboxin10. To start, let's talk game releases. The big games out last week were Tennis World Tour 2, Going Under, and Mafia Definitive Edition. The games coming out this week include Projection First Light, Bartlow's Dread Machine, Return One-Way Trip, Commander 85, Feather, Orange Blood, Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, Warsaw, Dragon Lapis, and of course Star Wars Squadrons. I cannot wait. One quick note on Game Pass before we get into the biggest news stories of last week. Doom Eternal is coming to Xbox Game Pass on October 1st. Now onto last week's biggest news stories, and we have 5 to cover this week. Number 1, and arguably the biggest news story of at least the last 5 years in the video game industry, welcoming the talented teams and beloved game franchises of Bethesda to Xbox. This is by Phil Spencer, head of Xbox at Xbox Wire. Today is a special day as we welcome some of the most accomplished studios in the games industry to Xbox. We are thrilled to announce that Microsoft has entered into an agreement to acquire ZeniMax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks. As one of the largest, most critically acclaimed, privately held game developers and publishers in the world, Bethesda is an incredibly talented group of 2,300 people worldwide who make up some of the most accomplished creative studios in our industry, across Bethesda Softworks, Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, AlphaDog, and Roundhouse Studios. These are the teams responsible for franchises like The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, Prey, Quake, Starfield, and many more. Bethesda games have always had a special place on Xbox and in the hearts of millions of gamers around the world. Our teams have had a close and storied history working together, from the amazing first Doom and its id Tech engine innovating games on PCs to Bethesda bringing their first console game to the original Xbox in the groundbreaking The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Over the years, I've had many deep conversations with the creative leaders at Bethesda on the future of gaming, and we've shared similar visions for the opportunities for creators and their games to reach more players in more ways. Just as they took the bold first steps to bring the Elder Scrolls franchise to the original Xbox, Bethesda were early supporters of Xbox Game Pass, bringing their games to new audiences across devices, and have been actively investing in new gaming technology like cloud streaming of games. We'll be adding Bethesda's iconic franchises to Xbox Game Pass for console and PC. One of the things that has been most exciting is seeing the roadmap with Bethesda's future games, some announced and many unannounced, to Xbox console and PC, including Starfield, the highly anticipated new space epic currently in development by Bethesda Game Studios. Like us, Bethesda are passionate believers in building a diverse array of creative experiences and exploring new game franchises and in telling stories in bold ways. All of their great work will of course continue and grow as we look forward to empowering them with the resources and support of Microsoft to scale their creative visions to more players in new ways for you. All of our work and the foundation of our relationship with you starts with a commitment to deliver a breadth of amazing games to discover and play on Xbox. Over the last few weeks, we've been excited to share more detail on important elements of a plan we've been building towards for years. A plan that is the fulfillment of a promise to you, the Xbox player, to deliver the most performant, immersive, and compatible next-generation gaming experiences, and the freedom to play blockbuster games with your friends, anytime, anywhere. Today is a landmark step in our journey together, and I'm incredibly energized by what this step means for Xbox. Please join me in welcoming all of our friends at Bethesda to Team Xbox. This is one of those news stories that you remember where you were when you first saw it. It's one of those where you scroll through Twitter, you see the story, you see the headline, and you think, this must be a fake account. An absolutely incredibly blockbuster, monumental move in the game industry with effects for years and years to come. I am so incredibly excited for this next generation even more, and it's not coincidental that this news came out the day before pre-orders went live on Tuesday. Having all these games into the already insane value of Xbox Game Pass is incredible. I don't think it could be argued now that going into next-gen Xbox with Xbox Game Pass absolutely gives you the most bang for your buck. What is not fully clear though with this new story and Microsoft acquiring Bethesda is what is the exclusivity deal for all these games coming forward. The hot topic online has obviously been, will Xbox make these console and PC exclusives, or will some of these games appear on PS5? I mean, Microsoft has to get that $7.4 billion back that they paid to acquire Bethesda, so will they make the game $70 on PS5 and then market it as free as part of Xbox Game Pass? Right now I'm pretty torn. I think I'm about 60-40, 60% in that these will be exclusives. The big story of the previous gen, which put PlayStation and Sony so far ahead, was Microsoft simply had no exclusives. They cannot make this argument anymore. In about another year and a half to 2 years, it could be likely that now with 23 Xbox game studios, we could see a new exclusive coming maybe every 2 to 3 months. Here's to hoping the quality will be there. I hope Phil Spencer and the team are steering the right ship forward. I'm even more excited than I already was for next gen, and I can't wait to play this fall. Number 2, off of that, Microsoft open to purchasing more game studios in the future. Sean Carey at True Achievements writes, Microsoft shook the gaming world a couple days ago when the company announced it was purchasing ZeniMax Media with all of its development studios for a hefty $7.5 billion. As it stands, 23 developers now sit under the Xbox Game Studios banner, but it seems Microsoft may be still on the lookout for more. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella told CNET that Microsoft was open to purchasing more studios. Quote, we will always look for places where there is that commonality of purpose, mission, and culture. We will always look to grow inorganically where it makes sense, end quote, said Nadella. Of course, these new comments shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. Big companies are always looking at new potential acquisitions. In recent years, Microsoft has acquired notable developers such as Mojang Studios, Obsidian Entertainment, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, InXile Entertainment, and more. In July, rumors began to spread that Microsoft was interested in acquiring WB Games, but ultimately, AT&T decided not to offload the gaming division. In an interview with GameIndustry.biz, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said, quote, we're always out there talking to people, but it has to be the right opportunity, end quote. All signs are pointing to Bethesda not being the last of their acquisitions, and I can't wait to see who's next to add even more value to Xbox Game Pass. If I was taking bets, my money would be on acquiring Dontnod. They just opened up a new studio this week to build a brand new IP. They just had Tell Me Why, which I've been really enjoying, and of course they're famous for Life is Strange, although that IP would be with Square Enix. I can't wait to see what they could do, and I think it would really round out the portfolio of types of games that Microsoft can offer in Xbox Game Pass by having episodic content. Number 3, more Xbox Series X and S units will be available at launch after record-breaking pre-orders. Jordan Allman at IGN writes, Microsoft has revealed that more Xbox Series X and S units will be available when the console launches on November 10th, following record-breaking demand for pre-orders. The official Xbox Twitter account thanked fans for the excitement on September 22nd as pre-orders went live around the world. The tweet notes that those who didn't manage to secure a successful pre-order should sign up with retailers for updates, as more units will be available upon launch day on November 10th. September 22nd was a disaster similar to Sony, just not as bad. It was definitely the horror and stress of not knowing if I would be able to secure a console. I finally got the one I want with my Xbox Series X and in-store pickup at Best Buy. Now the countdown till November 10th. Number 4, Microsoft's new Xbox app for iOS features remote game streaming from console. Matt Wales at Eurogamer writes, although cloud streaming is still a no-go in its present guise based on Apple's current guidelines, Microsoft's newly updated Xbox app for iOS will enable users to stream from their console to iPhone or iPad when it launches soon. It's a feature that's already available to all users of the recently updated Xbox app beta for Android, and enables app users to remotely start up their Xbox One and stream their game library to their mobile device for free. Previously, the feature was known as Xbox Console Streaming and was available exclusively to Xbox insiders. The Verge reports Microsoft's updated iOS app will include remote game streaming to iPhone or iPad, despite Apple continuing to drag its heels over cloud gaming. It permits other remote desktop client apps, such as the similar PlayStation 4 Remote Play, enabling iOS users to stream from their Xbox over Wi-Fi or a phone connection. Both the incoming Xbox app for iOS and the Android version introduce a range of new and updated features, including a fresh look that reflects Microsoft's recent Xbox UI redesign, a new notification system, the ability to share game clips and screenshots captured on Xbox, and more as outlined in a lengthy post on Xbox Wire. Although Apple is still being Apple with blocking Xbox from allowing players to stream from the cloud in Project xCloud, at least there is now some form of option for console streaming from your home console onto your iOS device. And number 5, official Xbox Series X and S 1TB expandable storage drive costs $219.99. Jordan Allman at IGN writes, Microsoft has revealed the price of its proprietary expanded storage cards for Xbox Series X and S, which will start at $219.99 for 1TB of extra space. As spotted by The Verge, a listing for the 1TB game drive for Xbox Series X and Series S appeared on the Best Buy's website, confirming the pricing. According to the product overview, this is the only available expansion card that replicates the Xbox Velocity architecture, providing faster load times, richer environments, and more immersive gameplay. As we've heard previously, it will only be used for next-gen games. With the Xbox Series S sporting a slimmer 512GB SSD, the expandable drive may have been seen as a means of boosting the console's usefulness. That may be less of an appealing option now, given that the price of the extra storage brings that console up to around $520, more than the $499 cost of the more powerful Xbox Series X console. As soon as this went live, I pre-ordered it. This next generation is all about convenience for me and speed, and I don't want to be worrying about moving my games around, uninstalling, and reinstalling. I understand it's very expensive, but everyone needs to look into the technology behind this. It is pretty comparable in price, it only sucks that it is proprietary technology. As always, we end our show with a fun fact about Xbox, and this one is going to be a learning lesson about HDMI 2.1, which is a major component of this next generation. The Series X will come with an HDMI 2.1 port and cable. HDMI 2.1 allows for high resolution such as 4K, 8K, and even 10K. High refresh rates are also possible with HDMI 2.1. 4K can be displayed at 120Hz and 8K can be displayed at up to 60Hz. Higher refresh rates are possible but require removing color information from the signal, as well as the use of display stream compression or DSC. HDMI 2.1 also has high enough bandwidth to deliver these impressive video signals with 10 and 12-bit color, which are needed to properly display HDR content. While some displays have been technically capable of 4K 120Hz HDR output in recent years, there has been no easy way to get such a high bandwidth signal to the screen until now. For the first time, gamers will be able to have their 4K cake and eat it too. I wanted to highlight this news story as it's just starting now that TVs will have HDMI 2.1 ports. If you're looking into buying a new TV this fall or for your next-gen boxes, you need to ensure that your TV is HDMI 2.1 compatible. It will then allow you to take full advantage of all the potential of these next-generation consoles. I unfortunately bought an LG OLED C8 TV and I absolutely freaking love it. It's one of the best TVs out there and I love the beautiful HDR gaming on it. However, it is absolutely killing me and using every bone in my body to not make the purchase to upgrade to a TV that has HDMI 2.1 like the LG C10. Love my TV, but I'm missing out just a little bit on next gen. Give me about 2 to 3 years and I'm sure I'll have the TV of my dreams. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. If you like the show, please subscribe to your favorite podcast service, share it with your friends, and follow on all social media at Xbox in 10. This past week I haven't had too much time to play video games, but I've been popping in and out of trying games on Project xCloud, and I gotta admit, I'm amazed by the technology. I've been saying it on this show, and I'll say it again. I'm super impressed with it, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be like in the years to come. My name is Brandon Rose. You can follow me on Xbox at Brosen93. I hope you all have a great week, stay safe, and keep on gaming.